Hi, Olga.
Hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm excellent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so you and I were chatting recently, and we were talking about our kids, and we had this really interesting kind of common bonding experience in our conversation that has led us to today in this video in this conversation. And so I think just the premise to set up for everyone is that we're just a couple parents. Like that's it. We're just parents, but we obviously have a heart for nonprofits. Um, and we are a little bit on a mission to challenge other parents to make sure that their kids have a heart for nonprofits. Yeah?
Yes, yes. Well, and there's a little bit of selfishness in that, in trying to teach our kids to contribute. Speaking for myself, it's to also combat some of the entitlement that comes with living a pretty comfortable life. So to just develop some empathy and to care about the plight of whether it's people or animals or different causes, to just have some of that, to flex that caring muscle early on in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so interesting. I mean, I'm just kind of reflecting, as a kid, I saw my parents um, physically put a check in an offering plate at the church that we attended every single week. And so I was exposed early on to the importance of giving, right,
Mhm.
through that mechanism. Um, and so, yeah, just thinking about it, like that was set early on, and now, one because of you got a decline in church attendance where maybe people are less exposed to that, kids are less exposed to that, and then second, my kids don't see me doing that at the place that we attend because it's all online giving, it's all mobile giving. I'm doing it through this, so they're not seeing me write a check and seeing that thing. And so that you and I started talking about this, and we actually found that we had at some point in the not too distant past gone through a similar exercise with our kids.
Yeah, so I gave each one of my kids a certain amount of money last year for Giving Tuesday and asked them to choose a charity that they would like to contribute to, and they did. Where it backfired a little bit, my eldest sort of took the short path. He knew he wanted to give to animals. He quickly found the local shelter, and it's a great organization. But he really did not deliberate a whole lot. It was sort of a task to be accomplished, and he went about it very quickly. And his younger brother gave to the same charity, but his primary reason really seemed to me because his brother gave to that charity. So it was a little bit of social pressure there. So the challenge I'm kind of trying to face now is, okay, so they've done the thing, but how do I get them to care about it? And how do I sort of infiltrate their minds to really feel good about it, beyond sort of like I'm doing it because I'm being told to do it, but to really start getting a little bit more ingrained.
And I had done something similar. So I think it was 2 years ago now, or maybe it was 3 years back, where on December 31st, I had given the kids each an amount and told them that I wanted them to pick two causes. And so I guess I didn't give them a whole lot of time to think about
Mhm.
or to deliberate on it, but I did say, I said, hey, what are you interested in? Let's look online, let's look at their websites and those sorts of things. My oldest, my son, he didn't want to really spend time doing that. He knew that what he cared about most was impacting the homeless. And actually, he, based off of a family experience that we had gone through, he in particular cared about the homeless in New Orleans. So we found an organization, a rescue mission in New Orleans, that cares for those in need. And so that was one of the causes. And then because he is a soccer player and obsessed with soccer, we found an organization that actually puts on soccer events for homeless individuals as a means to try and bring them together and speak life and and help them and where they're at. So that was his experience. My daughter, my younger one, she also deliberated more than my son, and so she wanted to sit and to look at websites and to talk about it, and so ended up choosing a cancer organization and an animal organization. And so, it's funny, you talk about that, like you want them to care now. I got to tell you, we get direct mail from the organizations that we have supported and their names, because I put our kids' names in the donation information, their address to them. And so, I will hand them the mail piece and I kind of sit back and watch.
I love
And
that.
it's interesting because there are times that they care, and there are times to where it's like, whatever, which is probably a great picture of what people do in general. Like there are times where they get drawn in and times to where they don't.
So what I love about your story is that both of your kids found a personal connection, especially your son, kind of exposure to people who are homeless, and specifically in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I love that personal connection. And I think as I'm listening to you describe it, there are certain charities that are more accessible to non-adult humans than others, and animals certainly fall into that, and food and shelter and just some of those more basic needs. And I think that's fair. You can't expect a young child to really have appreciation for sort of higher level, more abstract ideas. So at this point, meeting them where they are and exposing them to charities that will be a little more accessible. Question I have for you is, how does one go about creating those experiences? Because you don't want to be you don't want to sort of go as a tour of poverty, right? Like that's just not appropriate. It seems very what word am I looking for? It just doesn't seem right. But how do we expose them without creating this artificial situation? Because I was pondering how hardship for most kids, if you're a middle upper class family living in comfortable suburbs, hardships are far experience some of these hardships to really appreciate them.
Yeah, I mean, we've traveled a lot in the U.S. and I saw my kids are middle school and elementary school, so it's not like they're old, but I saw earlier on their discomfort in being exposed to poverty.
Yeah.
And that broke my heart because I didn't want them to be hardened or sheltered from it or fearful of being exposed to those circumstances. So we kind of made the decision to go out of our way to not be uncomfortable, right? So whenever we as a family spent time in Philadelphia and we're staying in downtown, and if there's actually a great pizza place. I wish I could remember it. There's a great pizza place in Philly. I think it's on a side street off of Market, where if you buy a slice of pizza, you can pay for a slice of pizza for a homeless person.
Okay.
And so like we just tried to do like little research like that to where how can you show them that there are ways that they can not be so self-absorbed. We actually, this last summer, we do a road trip every summer to a beach in the Gulf part of Florida, and New Orleans is one of our favorite places to stop and to stay. And so we actually scheduled a tour of the mission where peers chose to donate. And so that actually was transformative for all of us, for my wife, for myself, for my son and my daughter, of seeing, at that point, you're seeing the healing, right? You're seeing what they do. And so I think that for us as parents, man, we're busy and we have so many things that pull at our attention, whether or not that's the logistics of getting kids from A to B or, you know, their activities that we may get caught up in, our own work and friend groups, etc. And I think we just got to be more intentional about showing them some of the realities of the world and how they can help solve for those things in whatever ways.
Yeah. So I think, Justin, when we were chatting about this, what's our call to parents coming out of this?
Yeah. Okay. So you and I are both gonna put this up on LinkedIn and other stuff, and we've got a lot of friends in the nonprofit space that are in the same life chapter as us, right?
Yes.
And so really, our ask is for them to be more intentional. Like, I don't know what that looks like for everybody. Maybe it's finding a place where you can go volunteer with your kids. Maybe it's finding a place where you can just go take a tour. Even if you're not volunteering, just go take a tour, or find a way to give them some money so that they can do just like what we've done with our kiddos, that they've chosen a cause that they want to support. And so I think our call to action is for them to be super intentional, but not just like be intentional in a roundabout way. Like, we want people to come back and tell us what they've done, right?
Yes, yes. Well, and I think to your point, it starts with conversations and it's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. But in the long run, our kids will be better off because it's always unpleasant to kind of make note of something you don't have. But if you actually start seeing that actually you are in a good place, you start gaining some more gratitude. So you're actually gaining more in the process yourself. So I think it's intentional conversations and pointing out to them that it's not just faraway places, but it's kids that are in your own neighborhood. There may be lots of families that are struggling with things. Just because it's not in your face and visible doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So.
Yeah. So be aware of empathy, like heighten your empathy, and
Yes.
then being intentional with your kids about being charitable and philanthropic, and then
Tell us
sharing.
about it.
And not just a Giving Tuesday or December 31st thing. Like, that's the other thing we talked about.
Yes.
Is this should be something that we as parents, and certainly we as parents in the nonprofit space, are keenly aware of and working towards. And so that's our challenge to our friends and colleagues, right?
Yes. Yes, I like it.
Awesome. Okay, well, hopefully people will comment on the back end of this and share videos and share photos of their kids. And I would love for us to see LinkedIn flooded with pictures of us and our little ones who are, that we're teaching them how to give.
Yes, teach to give, I think, was you coined that hashtag. So let's make that happen. So
there you go. Awesome. Olga, I can't wait to see what happens.
sounds good.
Yeah.